Hello, my Aloha tribe, and welcome to the Aloha Perspective. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day. It's St. Patrick's Day. It's also Things to Think on Thursday. So, today I'm just going to do an affirmators card. I had a subject, but I want to do a little bit more thinking on it. So, I'll probably do it next week. But if the card fits today, who knows? It may become a part of today's talk. But I guess I'll just pull some cards until some more people. Sorry, guys. You know what? I was ready to go for the day, and then all of a sudden, all my insecurities hit. So, breathe, right? It's like that mindful breathing we did yesterday, or talked about, I should say. Like I said, it is Things to Think on Thursday. Happy Thursday, happy St. Patrick's Day. I'm wearing my green. I shouldn't have to, because I'm actually Irish. That's right. I know I don't look it, but I have Irish blood. Actually, for all the nationalities I have, I could probably celebrate something every week or every month, right? But it's one of my favorites. So, I think because of all of the mystical stuff about it, just like Hawaii, right? All the mystical stuff about the Irish and the Hawaiians and magic and just all those fun things, you know, the Celts and the ancient Hawaiians and just all those things. So, what I love, so I have to tell you, one of my favorite things to do though is when people sit there and every so often you overhear people going, oh, well, you know, like, because I'll wear something. I used to have a shirt that, you know, says I'm Irish or this or that or whatever. And every so often you hear people go, yeah, right. And, you know, we can't help it, right? Sometimes we just make comments and people hear it and you're just like, ooh. But what I like to do is sometimes I'll call people on it. Because I'm half Asian, Polynesian. So it kind of cancels it out. You can't really tell, right? I'm a mixed breed. So I love their faces when I'm like, no, actually my great-great-grandfather or great-great-great-grandfather came from Ireland. So yeah, keep talking. But anyways, it is one of my more prevailing, British and Irish are one of my more prevailing European bloods. But anyways, it's Things to Think on Thursday. And I'm going to pull some cards to start so we can get going. Ooh, Hufflepuff. This may have come up first because I am so excited about the new Fantastic Beasts coming out. And I'm so excited that, I know this may be controversial, but I'm so excited about the actor playing Grindelwald now. I never know if I'm saying his name right, but Mads Mikkelsen, I don't know. But great actor. So I'm super excited about it now. Sorry, I know a lot of people aren't on board with the cast change, but I particularly love it. I told older sibling, I think it'll be better. I think he'll bring more of something to the role and not trying to be so different all the time. I love being different. I admire when people embrace their difference, but sometimes I think, I don't know. I have a million thoughts in it. I think I'm just biased. That's all. So anyways, Hufflepuff. Hard work, patience, loyalty, justice, determination, kindness. Newt Scamander was a Hufflepuff. That's right. So was Tonks. That's right. So was Cedric, but he died. However, sorry, spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't read the books or seen the movies. But hard work, patience, loyalty, justice, determination, and kindness. Kindness. Let's focus on the kindness, right? So, ooh, we have Fox. Dumbledore's phoenix. A heart filled with love is like a phoenix that no cage can imprison. Rumi's a poet, but I love this. And at the bottom, I actually put rise. So like rise from the ashes, right? Raise yourself from the ashes. If you feel broken and you have fallen apart, rise. Don't keep digging. That's not going to serve you in any way, shape, or form. Okay? You're not going to get anywhere. You're not going to find a bat cave. All right? So don't keep digging. A heart filled with love is like a phoenix that no cage can imprison. Ooh, this is another one of my favorites. Platform 9 3/4. You have to trust that what you are running at will see you through to the other side. You have to trust that what you are running at will see you through to the other side. Now, for the Harry Potter fans out there, platform 9 3/4 can only be accessed through a brick wall. Okay, it is literally a magical wall. But if you're new, right? Like the first time Harry Potter went, it's like, yeah, just run at the wall, and hope for the best. So there you go. So again, trust that what you are running at will see you through to the other side. Love yourself. Self-love. Love yourself. After yesterday's conversation, this is a huge one. Hashtag self-love. Okay. Love yourself. The greatest love you can ever give is the love that you give yourself. Because when you have that self-love, good morning, Shannon, when you have that self-love, when you have that, when you have that self-confidence and that self-esteem within you, it radiates to other people. I wrote something down this morning that, we always joke with people and say, oh, well, aren't you just the center of the universe? When you think about it, we are all the center of our own universes, right? But here's the difference. What are we putting out into this universe that we hover over, that we are the center of? Are we radiating good, kindness? Are we radiating that love that everybody can feel? Are we radiating, oh, it's all about me, nobody else. I truly am the center, let's go sarcasm, right? Let's go with the sarcasm. Yeah, I am the center of my universe. What are you putting out there? Because really, when you think about it, you really are. I know it sounds strange, but you really are the center of your own universe. Everything, all the people that you bring into your life, all the things that come and go, they're like galaxies and planets and stars, some like the stars, they stick around, like the planets, they stick around. Some people might be like comets and asteroids that just come through, wreak havoc, and, are on their way. Or they might just, float in and do whatever they need to do. But what happens around us, we are in control of. For a long time, I found a journal of mine the other night from the end of 2018, the first few months of 2019. And my depression and anxiety were really starting to show. I don't like to speak ill of places I've been or people I've known, because I'm trying to be better at that. But the last boss I ever had, it was hard because I kept having things piled on me that I didn't understand. And when I would try to ask for help, I would constantly be talked over, or I would be told to ask somebody else for help, but that person was always busy. But that person was so stressed that when they talked to me, they actually took their, they put their tone on me, and they put their tone on me hard. And they treated me like I was stupid because I didn't understand it. It wasn't my job. And it's not that I didn't want to understand it. I just didn't have anyone that wanted to explain it to me. So my depression and anxiety really started to ramp up. It really started to get bad. And I was looking at these journal things, and I'm just like, I wish this, I wish that. And I realize now, after reading that, which is almost 3 years later, I know, it took me long enough, that I was coming at things from the wrong direction. When we want life to happen, when we want things to happen, we have to put that energy out there. That's where I kind of came up with this, we're the center of our own universe. I even wrote it. It says, this is my journal post from this morning. In a way, we are each the center of the universe, the center of our own universe. And we choose the vibrations. Sorry, I can't read my own writing. We choose the vibrations we put forth into our creation so that we may create. But we are not creating good things if we're afraid or worried. We're creating bad things. The only way to get unstuck is to unstuck yourself. Go out and do something. Be in the world. Be a part of the world. Don't just exist in it. So I'm going to read that again since I kind of tripped over it. So I put, oh, you know what? I'll just read the whole thing. So I read something this morning from Moon Tarot on Twitter, and it resonated with me so greatly. In fact, a lot of their posts, their daily posts, have really kind of resonated with me. So, I wrote it down. It says, check in with yourself today and notice what's working for you. Find gratitude for the contentment you experience from time to time. You're creating a new equilibrium that supports a peaceful inner home. And I realized I didn't have that peaceful inner home. And it wasn't anybody's fault but my own. Yes, people can disrupt our peace. Yes, people can disturb our peace. But we choose whether or not we want to give them our power. We choose whether or not we want to give in to their snarkiness or their sarcasm or, their inability to be a good leader. And we can learn from that. What we take away from that is when we go off and we're in the position of this particular person that we're having an issue with, we do better. A lot of times people hide their insecurities behind anger or behind, being jerks or whatever, because they don't want the world to see that they're not as tough as they actually think they are. And, at this time though, because my dinged up mental health was really kind of weighing on me, and there was so much pressure on me and so much more work on me on top of what I was already doing. One of the comments my former supervisor said to my supervisor before her, because she actually came back to work in California, was, I didn't realize how much she did. See, I'm not tooting my own horn, but I did my job so well that most people didn't realize how much I did. I didn't complain about it. I just did it. And I prioritized. I knew how to prioritize. I actually learned that from older sibling and Sissy. But I learned how to prioritize the hard stuff first, and then you do the easy stuff last. Because it's, same with my mom, right? My mom, when I was in high school, she made me take so many hard courses my first 2 years, but my senior year of high school, holy crap, I had two mandatory courses. And those are courses that seniors in the United States have to take. Like economics and American government and English. Okay, and even my English class, I was able to swap out for, get this, a film as literature class. I should have stayed in the English lit class, though, because I really, really loved it. But my point is that I knew what I was doing. And I'd been doing it for 15 years, and I had a grasp on it. And so I just did it faster than most people because I do tend to pick up on things easier. However, when things get piled on you and piled on you and piled on you, and you try to tell people, hey, you know what, this is kind of a lot and I need some help, but then they just say, well, go to this person. It was always about pushing me off to somebody else. There was never any true guidance in the end of my career at this particular place. And that's what made it hard. But I realize now that it was pushing me in the direction I needed to go. It was pushing me towards my purpose. Because I know now, even as I speak with you, that I can do better. I can be better. I can listen better. And I'm not always good at listening. Sometimes the things that I've complained about other people, I've done myself. I'm not perfect. I'm not even close to perfect. Like I've said in the past on these perspectives, I am perfectly imperfect. Perfectly imperfect. I am so far from being perfect that it's not funny, but I love that about myself. Because when I was growing up, I wanted to be perfect. I thought being perfect meant that everybody would love me. Because I felt so unlovable, because I felt so insecure and low self-esteem and zero confidence. And I was starting to feel this way again. And so, like I said, the anxiety started ramping up, and I even wrote in my journal from, I believe it was somewhere around April 2019, I do not have the tools, or I'm not equipped with the tools to handle anxiety. The depression, I had a bit of a handle on, but I put it right there in writing. I do not have the tools to deal with this. I don't know what to do. And that made it worse. It made me more anxious. So when I read check in with yourself today, and I actually do that every morning at 8:01 on the weekdays and 12:01 p.m. on the weekends, I have an alarm that goes up and it's called a mental health check-in. So I check in with myself. It says check in with yourself today and notice what is working for you. Find gratitude for the contentment you experience from time to time. You're creating a new equilibrium that supports a peaceful inner home. When you start to check in with yourself, even if you're in a bad situation, if somebody starts to make you mad, just start gratituding in your mind. Or even ask them, well, actually, maybe not, because you never know. Some people are just like that. But sometimes they don't even realize that they are the way they are. It's just their personality. Maybe it's how they grew up. Maybe it's not. Just bide your time, because eventually they will shift out of your life more than likely. And if they don't, then you have to make that hard decision of saying, is there something you want to talk about? Are you doing okay? Because sometimes they may not even know. A lot of times we don't want to point out people's behavior because it's not our responsibility, right? But if this person is choosing to stay in your life, or you are choosing to keep them in your life, sometimes we need to be called out. I have been called out by my friends. That's how I know they're my friends. Because they're not afraid to say something to me. They're not afraid to call me out. And it hurts sometimes. But then you realize, oh my God, I'm doing exactly what I've complained about. And I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be the person I'm complaining about. I'm supposed to be better, not bitter. And sometimes when we're bitter, we take it out on the people around us. And that's not what we want to do either. Right? We want to learn from these things. We want to embrace, this lesson. So again, or actually I'm going to read this. When I read the above for the first time, I realized part of my block. I'm waiting for things to happen out of fear, or I was waiting for things to happen out of fear, etc., instead of gratitude. I've been so in my head needing to be rescued that I forgot that I need to be the hero of my own story. And I haven't been. I've been preaching but not practicing those words. I keep saying we have to be the heroes of our own story. It's okay to feel rescued. It's okay to want to be rescued. But you have to allow yourself to be in that position, to have that knight in shining armor swoop in, or to have that great opportunity swoop in, or to have these great friends and tribe that you hang out with sweep in, right? You have to put yourself in that mindset. And it can be hard. I saw a post from a friend today that says, I'm used to posting positive things, but if you don't like my post now, then, I don't care if you're offended. You know what? If it's Facebook, that's your page. You can post whatever the hell you want. And don't worry about other people. Don't worry about other people. Everybody's always going to have an opinion, right? Opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one. Even I have opinions. I mean, I shared one earlier about the movie I was talking about. But that's, and then right after that I put, in a way, we are each the center of the universe, the center of our own universe. And we choose the vibrations we put forth into our creation so that we may create. But we are not creating good things if we're afraid or worried. We're creating bad things. The only way to get unstuck, I know, the only way to get unstuck is to unstuck ourselves. Go out and do something, be in the world, be a part of the world, and don't just exist in it. And yes, like Shannon says, as Taylor Swift would say, haters gonna hate. Haters are gonna hate. People were saying that before Taylor Swift, but yeah, haters are always gonna hate. And you know what? What's my favorite? What is the one thing I say all the time? And I'm pretty sure it might be one of my favorite quotes. What other people think of you is none of your business. Because someone's always going to have an opinion. People are always going to have an opinion. We all have an opinion. Each one of us, each individual is not exempt from having an opinion. We always have an opinion about something. I mean, yesterday, older sibling and I had several conversations and we didn't agree on one of them. We couldn't even find common ground. We're just kind of like, yeah, whatever. And so I kept trying to shift the conversation And but I accept her opinion. I didn't agree with them, and she didn't agree with mine. But that's what conversations are, right? You're sharing your opinions. You're kind of seeing where the other people stand, and it's kind of fun to have those things. It's kind of fun to have those spirited debates. And but when it starts to go sideways, okay, just as a side note, if it starts to go sideways and you start to fight about it, that's when it needs to stop, because that's no longer a debate. You're trying to force force your opinion on each other, which is not what we were doing. We just kept saying, but yeah, but, or yeah, but, yeah, but. We're probably trying to convince one another, but it really was more of a spirited debate than anything else. But yeah, as the center of your universe, it's important to love yourself. Okay? It's important to love yourself, to have that self-love, because what you want to do is put out there this vibration that says, hey, everybody's welcome here. Everybody's welcome here. Yes, we have a couple of rules, but the main rule, and in my universe, the only rule I have is be kind. Be kind. We are going to have times when we're not going to be kind to each other, in which case, if you have to, walk away. Walk away before you say something you don't mean. Nobody wants to hurt each other. We can apologize all day long, but once you've said something or once you've done something, you can't undo it. You cannot unring a bell. Okay? Once that bell has rung, everybody's heard it. The people you care about have heard it. The person you might be, spewing your venom at has heard it. Just like when people spew their venom at you, you've heard it. And sometimes, as you know, it's hard to move past some of that pain, some of that hurt. But we find ways. And if people are important enough to you, sometimes people do things out of pain. They don't want to feel alone in their pain. So instead of trying to vibe higher, because maybe they don't have someone guiding them in that direction, or maybe they're just like being stuck in their pain and being pitiful, they want everybody else to be there with them. But sometimes, even when we get better, sometimes, like I said, you can't unring a bell. And if you have rung that bell a lot of times, chances are you will never be able to unring that bell. Well, you can't unring a bell, period. But chances are you're never going to be able to stop the reverberations, is that the right word, of that bell. Because some people won't stop hearing it because you've rung it too many times. However, if it is fixable, then let it be fixable. But sometimes you have to have patience, and you have to show kindness, and you have to show empathy and compassion, because I am sure there is something every single one of us has done in our lives that has hurt somebody terribly. And it took a long time for them to trust us again. It took a long time for them to be okay with us again. Or maybe it didn't take that much time at all. I'm sure I have hurt people in the past, and they probably have no idea, where I was coming from, why I was coming from there. Sometimes we hurt people unintentionally. We don't mean to, but we have to make the best choices for ourselves, which they may not agree with. But that doesn't mean it doesn't hurt us, right? Because the last thing the majority of the people in this world want to do is hurt somebody else. We don't wake up every morning saying, how many people can I, be an asshole to today? No. We wake up every morning thinking today's going to be a good day. I'm hoping today will be a good day. I'll be grateful if I can get out of bed today. It's kind of running the, I'm towing the line for everybody, everybody's mindset. But I would say that 99.99999% of the people that wake up in the morning do not say, I'm going to go out and hurt someone today. But sometimes it happens. Something could happen in the morning, on your way to work, on your way home even, or something could happen wherever you're at during the day, and it can throw everything sideways. And then you go home and you take it out on the people you care about, or you go out and have happy hour with people and you just start complaining, and then you take it out on them, or you're just complaining and maybe they're tired of you complaining because that's all you do, instead of trying to find the bright side in things. I mean, think about it this way. Oh my God, yeah, this asshole almost hit me with their car today, MFer, blah, 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 yada, yada. Okay, so that's your vent, because you're probably panicked, right? You might be on your way somewhere and you're like, oh, you're still kind of tense. But once you let that go, let it go. You can even finish it off by trying to make it positive and saying, you know what, but, you know, maybe I'm just venting about that because it freaked me out. It scared the crap out of me. But I'm so grateful that I'm okay. I'm so grateful everybody around that person is okay. You know, for a while, because people on the freeways out here are just ridiculous. And sometimes when you get that one person that believes they're the only person on the road, older sibling would laugh at me because the first time she heard it, I don't think she realized what I had said. And I just sit there, God bless you, don't kill anybody today. You know? So it's kind of like, yeah, I was kind of being half, right? Like, okay, you know, trying to calm down, but like, fuck you at the same time. So, Shannon, you're so funny. She just left a comment. You know what? Sometimes people leave a bad taste in our mouth, and we might wake up feeling a little angry and annoyed with people. And I will tell you, to be honest, when I say that we wake up not intending to piss people off, it's possible to wake up angry and disgruntled. For the last few months of my job, I was just so hurt at the way I'd been treating, especially after having come out as having a dinged up mental health to my boss, so she would understand a little bit more where I was coming from. She started treating me differently. And when people start to treat you differently and you're not stupid, you understand why they're treating you differently. She didn't understand what I went through. I wasn't asking her to. I was just trying to explain why there were certain things I needed to do to maintain my mental health and make sure I was in a good place. But instead, she kind of took that knowledge branch and slapped me with it. And I'm not trying to put her down. It's just honest. Sometimes when people do not understand, instead of trying to understand or trying to sit there and work something out with you, they freak out. And so for a lot of mornings, like Shannon, I woke up disgruntled. I woke up very unhappy. I woke up sad. I used to love going into work. Not my dream job, but I like the people. And there were days, right, where you just don't want to go into work. You don't want to make that drive. But, you know, I was starting to feel shunned. They might have well just sewn up a big scarlet A for me to wear on my chest. Because that's what it felt like. It felt like all eyes were on me now. Like I couldn't do anything right. Every time I tried to talk, she would talk over me. And it started to hurt. And it started to hurt a lot. And what was even funnier is after I left, I came back and saw some of my friends, because I was having lunch with one of my friends after their company meeting. And she couldn't understand why I was still upset. She had no idea what she had done, because she was so, I hate to say this because I hate talking bad about people, but she was mildly self-absorbed. I know, it's terrible, right? It just, trust me, I'm not the only one that saw it. But I do, forgive me, because that's not the person I want to be. That's not the person I'm trying to be. But I'm relating to what Shannon was talking about. I was becoming disgruntled. I was waking up in the morning being angry. And because, you know, we go through our lives trying to be kind to people. And, you know, when you extend the olive branch, who wants to get hit by it? Right? It's like, hey, here, let me extend this olive branch. Wham! And you're just like, well, what the fuck did I even try for? And what was the point? But the point is we take the lesson from it. And see, here's the difference in what Shannon was saying. She ended her comment with, but I was disgruntled then. Then. She's grown. I've grown. I did some of the most profound growth and shadow work, mostly in the last 5 months, but over the last couple of years, 2.5 years, since I left that place, since I left that job, I have noticed the change in myself. And I thought, you know what? I used to be so angry about having to go there, but now I see the lesson. Now I understand it. And I don't think it was an accident that I saw that journal post, because I didn't even remember where I'd put that journal. That's how many journals I have. They're like all over the house, just in case I need to write somewhere. but it fell on, and it was just sitting in the middle of the floor. And I picked it up and I'm like, I only had 6 or 7 passages in there, all to the middle or the beginning half of 2019. And I was like, wow, every single day in there was something negative, something hurtful, something terrible about my mental health and how I was struggling to cope and how nobody in my office could see it. The only person I really had was sibling. I did have a couple of other people in the office who I could talk to, but you know, you're at work, right? So you can't talk that often. And I realized, wow, I have come so far from being that person I used to be, who felt like the world was on their shoulders and had become bitter. But now I'm better. Now I'm better. And like I said, I feel bad speaking ill of other people. I do. You know, people have their reasons for doing things. People have their shortcomings. Some people are just so aloof, they have no idea. And that's okay. That's them. It works for them. They have their people. They have their tribe. They're just not meant to be a part of mine. But my purpose here is to teach us, hey, we're not all angels and sunshine and roses. Sometimes we're storm clouds, hurricanes, and straight up assholes. Okay? It's going to happen. We're human. We're human. We're not going to be positive every single moment. I was reminded by somebody, actually, I wasn't reminded. They pointed it out, and I like that because I wasn't talking about positivity or negativity, but I think that's how they took my post on Twitter. And they said, you're not a battery. You are not positive or negative. You're everything. Right? We're everything in between. Sometimes we're positive, sometimes we're negative, sometimes we're positively negative, sometimes we're negatively positive. But this is who we are. This is what makes us up. It's okay to have a bad day. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to be sunshiny. I mean, there was so my first name is Shelly Marie, and I used to belong to this one hockey email group back in the days before like social media blew up. And we had a Yahoo group for our favorite hockey team. And they used, you know, I was always trying to put a positive spin on things. Not intentionally, but I think because that's how I am most of the time. You know, I hate feeling bad sometimes that I try to just spin everything else into a positive thing. And they started calling me Polly Marie, like a play on Pollyanna. What can I say? What can I say? Sometimes my Disney brain just over Disneyfies everything. But I'm learning that balance too. But I'm not ashamed of being positive anymore. And I'm not ashamed of those days when I have a bad day. If I have a bad day, you know, because, you know, sometimes if people don't hear from me, they'll just be like, are you okay? What's happening? And, you know, on those times you don't want to be near your phone. You don't want to talk to anybody. I literally have little memes that just say, nope. I have like 4 different ones. One's a cat that's sprawled out. One's a human just laying flat on their face. Like, that's not happening today. And I will simply post that. And sometimes I think it's a cry for help for people to say, hey, are you all right? Are you doing okay? Or to feel that love. And, you know, I don't do it for attention. None of us reaches out like that for attention. But I think there is something subconscious in us that does need that needs that reassurance, that needs that self-confidence booster, that one friend to reach out on the text or on the message saying, I love you, I hope you're okay. You know, because we don't know how to ask for help. A lot of us haven't learned that. I'm learning that now. Oh, that's so sweet. Of course. High 5 or high 10. High 10 back to you, Shannon. She says, so much growth. You know, this is probably why, this is the funny part. I'm actually related to her husband. But this girl, she is straight up family to me because I love talking to her. I don't get to talk to her much except maybe on Facebook when she comes onto the comments. But whenever we do interact, it's like I've known her. I feel like it's like I've known her forever. And they're hockey fans. Not that thrilled about the Nashville Predators part. Sorry. But no, seriously, they're hockey fans. Right? My people. I finally found family that loves hockey. So, that I didn't have to force into it. But I think the point I'm making is that, Shannon popped into my life just under a year ago. And it's always awkward meeting new people, right? Especially, this poor family came in because, her mother-in-law is my dad's cousin. And they're part of the family I told you about that we just found out existed. Well, we knew they existed, but just finally were able to connect with. And this poor family was thrown right into the middle of a birthday party of like 15 other people that they didn't know. But I think that's where the kids set a great example too, because they just start playing. It's like that kids love everybody. And then, we all start warming up to one another, and then we all start talking, then we all start realizing, hey, we got a lot more in common than we thought we did. And once you get past that awkward moment, you see what a beautiful thing it is to connect with new people. And, there have been times on the perspective when Shannon's popped in, and I have learned from her. And it helped me on my shadow work. It helped me on this path of growing. And it also helped to know that I wasn't the only one that was, popping in, sharing about their dinged up mental health. I'm not ashamed of mine. She's not ashamed of hers. We talked about this yesterday. And it's a beautiful thing, because if more people, understood what we go through, there would probably be less of what she went through when she was in the military, less of what I went through when I was at my job. And, I had another friend who had severely dinged up mental health, and their boss reacted just the same as mine did, because they don't know what to do. They don't know what to do, and there's not enough education on it, and there's not enough paperwork. In my personal opinion, if you're going to be in HR, you should know a little bit about it, not just throw programs at people, because sometimes what they need is someone to talk to, someone to understand, not just throw them in the direction of a stranger. Sometimes all a person who has a dinged up mental health needs is for someone to sit there and listen and understand, not judge them, not make assumptions that they're going to do something bad to themselves, not make an assumption that they're going to walk in and, okay, this is going to sound terrible, or shoot up the place, because there was a time when people were doing that. People would get fired from their jobs, come back in, and bam, and it's not making light of it. What's happening is I'm going to get a little controversial here, okay, but it is things to think on Thursday. Look at all the people in recent mass shootings. What have they all had in common? Something traumatic has probably happened in their life, or they reached out for help, like that kid in Michigan, I think it was Michigan, where his parents were arrested also, because they didn't take his mental health seriously. The kid was crying out for, literally asking for help, and they just kept brushing it off. If you are someone who knows somebody with a dinged up mental health, or you are a parent of somebody who has a dinged up mental health, it's not a shameful thing. It takes more courage to live this way than it does to hide it from the world. It takes a lot of strength to hide it from the world, but it takes courage to live openly like this. Because there's always going to be that person that judges. There's always going to be that person that doesn't understand. There's always going to be that person that's going to feel ashamed, like, how could this happen to my family? Or that person that's afraid. I talked about my mom and how she swept mine under the rug, and how I finally, during journaling, came to the assumption that because she had an uncle who committed suicide, that she was afraid that was what was going to happen to me. And I couldn't explain that to her otherwise, that that's not how everybody works. Okay, so this is another thing we have in common. Shannon says, I've noticed that in my obsession with murder mysteries as well, especially with the serial killers and cult leaders. Exactly, I know. Girl, I'm obsessed with those shows too. Investigative ID, Discovery Channel. I have Discovery Plus, and I can't tell you how many shows are on there. And even Sibling and I talked about this one day. Why? Why are we so obsessed with these shows? And I think it's because we realize, ooh, I'm glad I'm keeping my mental health in check, because I don't want to be one of those people. Now, those are generally people that go down the narcissistic, sociopathic roads or psychopathic roads. But a lot of times, too, I just sit there going, I mean, this is literally, excuse my language again. You know what? Seriously, I got a mouth like a sailor. But, I sit there sometimes after maybe watching 3 or 4 of these shows in a row, because sometimes they run marathons, and I'm like, why the fuck am I watching these things? But you're just sitting there, and the next thought that comes out of my head is, how the fuck can people be that bad? What is wrong with these people? Who hurt them as a child? And you really, I mean, we joke with that, right? That's kind of the joke that's in a lot of comedies. Who hurt you as a child? But it's true. Who hurt you as a kid? You know, who hurt you as an adult? Who made you a sociopath or a psychopath? And that's not funny laughing. That's nervous laughing. But it is an obsession of mine, I admit. Because there's a part of it that is psychological. You know, there was at first when I was in college, my dad told me, if you want to, you know, get a theater degree and get a writing degree, you better have something to back that up just in case, you know. I mean, now I see that as, wow, you don't have any faith in me, or my parents did, but they always had faith in my writing. But I think they were worried that I didn't have enough faith in my writing, which is terrible to say that I'm very George McFly when it comes to my writing. But psychology was going to be my major. And I think that's part of the thing that has me obsessed with watching these things, is that I'm just sitting there trying to figure out why. And most of the time, that why is never really answered. You get the textbook answer. But, you know, there's never that why on how that person snapped. Right? Bad things happened to me when I was a kid. But I didn't grow up to be a serial killer, and I certainly did not grow up to be the people that harmed me, or the person that harmed me. You know, yes, I did have loving parents. Yes, my parents were very attentive. I'm an only child. But you have seen people who had these in their lives, and they still grew up to be all crazy and like, it's like, you know, nobody saw it coming. They were the boy next door, or they were the girl next door. And other people, just straight up, you knew that something bad was going to happen. But at the same time, those same people who have had these traumatic things happen to them went off and, ended up on death row somewhere, while other people who went through the same thing they did, and these people exist because we may have met them. You're sitting here thinking, whoa, so-and-so became a serial killer. I just saw a show on this, and they had the exact same childhood you did. How did you grow up to be a psychologist? I'm not referring to me, but it's just an example. But, and they'll be like, I just chose to be different. I just knew that I wanted to help people because I was in pain. And that's the difference. What is in our head that we're lacking that makes someone go off and do something terrible, horrible, these terrible, terrible crimes that makes them hurt other people, innocent people? Mass shootings were always on TV, right? I mean, we're lucky if we've never had to deal with it firsthand. And I personally have never had to deal with it firsthand, but several years back, we had a shooting in San Bernardino. And the one girl I told you used to call me fairy godmother in the office, her cousin was shot and killed in that mass shooting. And I think that's when reality really kind of hit, that, we always knew these things were real. But interestingly enough, right after that, near our home offices, there was a standoff. And by our next round of, those company tests you have to take every year, we had active shooter tests. I was part of the safety committee in our office, that every office had to have one. We had active shooter binders, or not binders, but sections in our binder for safety. And you're just thinking, God, what does this world come to? What is happening? So we have to find a way to, be expressive in a positive, nurturing, growth sort of way. If people come to us and they're hurting, if we turn them away, chances are they might go better and go and find someone else and get happier. Maybe they'll get help. But you never know, the one person you're turning away might be that one person that doesn't get help, that goes so far deep within themselves that they start to hurt other people. And it may not even be on a mass level. It could just be domestic. Showing their dominance because they're in so much pain. Showing their dominance because maybe somebody dominated them when they were a child. And they don't know any different. They don't know any better because they don't know how to break that cycle. It's all about breaking the cycle. By Shannon sharing her mental health issues, by older siblings sharing her mental health issues, myself sharing my mental health issues, we're breaking those cycles. We're breaking those cycles for the people who are too shy or don't want to share theirs. And it's okay. You don't have to. You don't have to shout at the top of a mountain, hey, I have a dinged up mental health. No. Because there's a lot of people out there, like the three of us and others, who are doing that for you. We're doing the best that we can to pave a road that is smooth. We all have potholes in our roads, especially those of us with dinged up mental health. Sometimes they feel like sinkholes, right? But we all have these holes in our roads, and what we're trying to do is smooth them over. We're trying to pave them so that people aren't afraid to reach out for help, so that they don't feel stigmatized when they reach out for help. In fact, I'm going to read this card now because I found it very interesting. The card right on top, because remember, last week I shuffled all 3 decks, and we're just going from the top. Worthiness. Worthiness. I love the cat with this. Is that creamer? Oh, yeah. Oh, it's the creamer. Enjoy, kitty. It looks like a French kitty. I am worthy of the ultimate happiness. I deserve and accept it. And damn it, I'm not going to feel guilty about it when I get it. Guilt is not invited to my happiness party. I won't even tell him where it is. If he asks about it, I'll be like, no, I think you're thinking of something else. And then I'll run away very quickly. You got to love the level of snark in these cards. But again, I am worthy of the ultimate happiness. Everybody deserves that. It is your birthright to be happy. Even if you struggle in the beginning, maybe you didn't have the best childhood. Maybe you didn't have everything everybody else had. I didn't have everything everybody else had, but I'll tell you one thing I did have. I had a great relationship with my parents. My mom and I may have had a complicated relationship, but I would hands down take her as my mom again. Because she made me better, not bitter. I was bitter for a while because I didn't understand. But the more I started to think through and put myself in her shoes, I started to understand where she was coming from. And that's the gift that she has given to me. She may not have known it while she was alive, but it's the gift she's given to me now. That despite our complicated relationship when I was growing up, not so much the last 10 to 15 years, but despite that complicated relationship we had when I was growing up, my mom loved me to the end of the universe and back. Both of my parents do. Well, did and do. Well, I'm sure she still does. But yeah, I may not have had everything, but I had them. And I had a lot of friends who do not have the relationship I have with my parents. At least they didn't when they were growing up. And I'm grateful that I had that. I'm grateful that our good times outnumbered our bad times, because that's what's important. I don't know what it's like to be a parent, but I know it's not easy. And I know that as kids get older and they find their identities and they discover who they want to be, they're going to start pushing back. Because a lot of times parents have the idea they want for their children, right? I'm pretty sure my parents were extremely disappointed when I dropped out of college. I didn't understand mental health back then. And the pressure was too much on me. And I didn't understand that. And if I had understood it back then, if I had gotten the help I needed back then, if any of us understood it back then, things might have been different. But I'm not here to what if anymore. I don't what if anymore. Because sometimes when we what if our past, we get dragged back down the rabbit hole of feeling bad about ourselves. I don't want to feel bad about myself anymore. I'm too fucking old to feel bad about myself anymore. I mean, I don't feel old. I don't even feel my age. I don't know what my age is supposed to feel like anyways. But I don't see age as anything but a number. And yeah, sure, there are certain perks you get when you hit each number. But I'm 49. And I don't want to worry about this shit anymore. I don't want to feel bad about the choices I made in the past. I don't want to feel bad about the mistakes I may have made in my past. Everything that I chose for myself has led me to this moment right here. Sharing my story so that other people can heal theirs. You do not have to share your story out loud with the world, but the person you do need to share your story with is yourself. Because you are the person that is going to heal your life. People may guide you. People may give you advice when you ask for it. Therapists may help you and guide you, but you are the one that has to choose your healing. You are the one that has to choose your happy. You are the one who has to choose to be worthy of your happiness, which is yours by divine birthright. Nobody is born into this world and told, hey, you're going to have a shitty life. No. And that doesn't mean that we always choose that. Sometimes life pelts us with so many things that we do break. We snap. Some people do snap and break. And I will tell you, going back to these shows that Shannon and I were talking about watching, I told this to older sibling the other day. It is horrifying to think how there are all these different stories. I mean, there are so many people out there who are broken that they have channels for these shows. I mean, God, has anybody ever seen the Forensic Files? The early day ones. I mean, they're only half-an-hour shows, but it's just like, holy shit. I know, right? That's something to think on. So, while you're thinking about that, choose if you want to be better or bitter. Oh, yeah, and she's on tons of podcasts. You know what? I've heard that. And I really, really got to start listening to podcasts. Wow. But no, seriously. It is scary to think about that. It is scary to think about the amount of shows. And some of them are stories that are repeated, like a different channel's take on the same story that you've seen a million times. But all the little, I don't want to say little ones, but all of the other ones that make it to these channels. Like somebody is literally going through the homicide detectives, all these different cities in the United States and around the world going, hey, I need to find a case for my show. It's terrifying. And what is sad is all the broken people or all the narcissistic sociopaths out there who may not have had a bad childhood. It's some of those half-an-hour shows like Forensic Files where they're like, I didn't understand. They were the boy next door. They were the perfect couple. What happened? Somebody snapped. Greed's a big one in that one. But that could be a whole nother live, right? That's a whole nother show that we could talk about all that. But what I want to go back to is how you are the center of your universe. Okay? And when you become a parent, or you become in charge or responsible for somebody younger, or somebody, even fur babies or water babies, they too can become a part of the center of your universe because you're open now. You're bringing yourself in to see, you're bringing yourself in, or no, I'm sorry, you're opening yourself up to love. You're opening your mind up to good things. And you can bring all these things into the center of your universe. Your family, your friends, your immediate family, your spouse, your children, your fur babies, whatever it is that you love so unconditionally that you cannot imagine your life without them. These things can too become a part of your universe. The center of your universe. And then everything else around you, all the Milky Ways, the planets, the stars, the galaxies, those are the other people in your life that just make up this beautiful, vastness that is you. Just like in somebody else's universe, or a lot of somebody else's, you are a star or a planet, or in some cases maybe an asteroid or a comet floating through. But we all exist in somebody's universe. And people exist in ours. And how we choose to vibrate out is up to us. But remember, don't force the positivity. Okay? Don't force that good vibration. If you are struggling on a day, remind yourself that yes, it will be okay. Remind yourself that it is important to make it to the next sunrise. And most importantly, if you find a way to move through it so that you can get back to that good vibration, do not hit bottom and keep digging. If you hit bottom, keep looking up. Start looking up. Don't be afraid to reach out for help. And know that if you do, somebody will be able to come along and help pull you out of that well. All right? So, so Shannon was replying to my thing. It's insane and terrifying. Yes, it is. How many of those shows there are? But she says, which is why I keep an eye on my kids' mental health and see the talking doctor when I know, right? The talking doctor. I never thought of it that way. But yeah, and that's a beautiful thing. Because the more we start to destigmatize mental health, it's a good possibility that we can start really changing this world and helping invisible people feel seen. I'm sure Shannon's felt this way. I know I've felt this way. I know older sibling has felt this way. There have been times in my life when I have felt so invisible that I felt like I literally could be in a room full of people and nobody would see me. So keep an eye on you. Keep an eye on others. And like I said, if somebody reaches out to talk and help, sometimes all you have to do is just sit there and listen. Just sit there and listen. Okay? So I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you for watching and for hanging in there for so long. This was actually a very interesting live. I had nothing planned, but I'm grateful that it took the direction it took because I do like to talk about mental health. It's not always about card decks and stuff. I mean, this is supposed to be the positivity, right? And reminding us what good things can come into our life. But I didn't pull this until during our conversation, and it fits perfectly. So I'm going to read it one last time before I let you go. I am worthy of the ultimate happiness. I deserve and accept it, and damn it, I'm not going to feel guilty about it when I get it. Do not feel guilty about being happy. Guilt is not invited to my happiness party. I won't even tell them where it is. If they ask about it, I'll be like, no, I think you're thinking of something else. And then I'll run away very quickly. Run fast or they're going to follow you. But yeah, focus on the first line. I am worthy of the ultimate happiness. And you are. Okay, remember that. You are worthy of the ultimate happiness. I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. I'll see you back here tomorrow for Aloha Friday. It's Aloha Oracle Friday. So if you have thoughts, questions, need an answer, need some guidance, put it out there. Hopefully they will give me the answer to give to you. We'd like to finish, or I like to, I don't know why I always say we. I think I say we because I do a live. It's not just me videoing myself. It is a live. So there are people on this. If you need, hopefully you'll get your answer. But I do like to finish it off, kind of fun, right? At the end of the week, going into the weekend. So have a great day. Tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Facebook Live. It is public. Anybody can watch. And I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. Talk to you tomorrow.